Good afternoon. Today is the 11th of March, and some of you have been looking forward to this vlog or rant or whatever you want to call it for quite some time. We're going to talk about, do you really need to have your car serviced regularly or even more than the manufacturer specifies, or will an MOT once a year suffice? Now, there's been several reasons why I've been looking forward to making this video. One of them is that last week I visited Mr. Richardson from Furious Driving, and I did a walk around on his 1988 Volvo 740 2-litre GL that some of you probably would have seen. It's been relatively popular. Because my mother used to have a 1989 Volvo 240 GL estate for a number of years, from 1990 to 2001, I still remember the servicing intervals on that car. And by modern standards, there's something extraordinary. The car needed an oil change every 6,000 miles or 6 months, and a full service every 12,000 miles or 12 months. Obviously, a lot of people, towards the end of the life of a 740 or 240, mechanically, they are quite similar cars, although not identical, of course, would have actually ignored entirely that and probably did it whenever they felt like it. I think that's a mistake. Both the Astra that I'm sitting in today, which of course is for sale, by the way, I think a lot of you have already seen the walk around of this car, and maybe even the advert that's actually advertising it. The thing about this car and the Rover I've just bought is that they've both suffered problems in the past where they've not been serviced regularly enough. And in the Astra's point of view, this has led to the head gasket actually failing, because these cars require a new timing belt, water pump, and tensioner. But water pump in one of these engines is the same as a tensioner anyway, so water pump stroke tensioner. They require that about every sort of 8 years or 80,000 miles supposedly. I would probably say every 6 years, to be honest. In a car like this, 60,000 miles. And this wasn't done, and a year or so ago, just over a year ago, the car experienced a catastrophic failure of that tensioner, and then the head gasket failed, and the engine at the top end was entirely replaced. That's one of the reasons why I bought the car in the first place, because that had been done. With the Rover, a lot of you have seen the fact that the brake pads of the car hadn't been changed for a while, and they really needed changing, so we changed them pretty much as soon as we could. And the new ones on there, they cost about £15, because parts for an old Rover R8 aren't that expensive. That was a very good investment, shall we say. One of the things to bear in mind about an MOT, and I've just spoken to two former MOT testers about this recently. Both of them actually are no longer tested, not because they got struck off or anything, just want to make that clear. It's because they found the fees a little bit too expensive. They both actually said that it's not necessary to take off the wheels of a car during an MOT, so that's something that's not necessary to do, and they don't do it. So really, you need to have a bit more of a kind of idea about what's going on in that respect. Now, yes, an MOT tester isn't required to dislodge bits of trim, take wheels off, things like that. And this is the sort of thing that could be picked up on regular servicing, particularly where you have a car that has known failure points, such as, say, a Peugeot 306. Now, there's a video on Mr. Coleman's channel, Rubbish Mechanics channel, which shows a Peugeot 306 where the bit above the rear wheel arch towards the rear of the car has totally disappeared. It's rotted through so badly that the area just above the seat mounting point, the anchorage point, the bottom bit, that's just gone. It's just a hole that's about, I don't know, about a foot square. And you wouldn't ever see that if you have your car tested for an MOT. You don't normally see that because the tester doesn't start taking the car apart normally. So if your car has a service and you've got somebody who's competent about, you know, the type of car that they're servicing, I mean, there are specialists all over the place for all sorts of cars, then they'll be able to have a look at things like this. They'll ask you when the cam belt on your car was done. You know, they'll check the brake pads for you, stuff like that. If you've got a Peugeot 306 or a 205 or something, they'll have a look at that area near where the seatbelt anchors, and they'll check it out and see if it's got holes in it and it's going to fail. The MOT tester's job is to assess a car on a particular day and see if it's safe at that time. And they have prescribed tolerances for all sorts of things like brakes and things. But that isn't a substitute for servicing. I'd say actually that, you know, you need to service your car more than the manufacturer recommends. I've had a lot of Rovers over the years, and with a K-Series engine on a Rover, they actually are supposed to have the oil and filter changed every 6 months, or about 7,500 miles. Now the intervals, I think, are 12,500 miles for the major service, but a lot of people just don't even do that. They don't bother, and that could be one of the reasons why a lot of these cars have you know, more problems than they need to, because people don't change the oil frequently enough. On a Volvo white block engine, I looked at one of these the other day. I looked at an S40 from 2004, the last of the first generation type. It was the 1.8 four-cylinder white block engine, and those are very well known for going very tappety if they have had done low mileage and haven't had the oil changed as frequently enough. Again, you know, it's supposed to be about 6 months or 6,000 miles for an oil filter change on one of those, but a lot of people, they leave it for a year or more or something like that, and that's not a good thing at all. Those of you might recall from the summer of 2018 that Car Throttle analysed the servicing and longevity of a 430,000 mile Skoda Octavia from 1999. And one of the things that they said about it is it's regular servicing on good quality oil and keeping it up with the maintenance, so it's allowed that car to do that kind of mileage. Now, 1.9 TDI engine that was fitted to Volkswagen Group products in the late 90s and early 2000s is a very long-lived engine, but it's only long-lived if you do things like change the cam belt and tensioners, use the right quality of oil, and do the servicing properly. Otherwise, your car just won't last as long. So in answer to the question, do you just go for an MOT every year and hope you don't need to service your car? Well, frankly, no. This is one area where erring on the side of caution is of great benefit. Mr. Coleman on the Rich Mechanic channel will actually do a follow-up video to this, so this is just part one, and he'll be able to explain in a lot more detail than I can. I'm far more of a layman when it comes to these sorts of things than he is, about really what you have to do in terms of keeping on top of the maintenance of your car if you want it to last a long time, particularly for the older cars, and also what an MOT tester is really looking for and what they do. One of the things I'll just say in conclusion is that a franchise dealership often charges far too much money for not doing a very good job. My mother's Mercedes C-Class, that was first serviced in 2018, they charged £360 for the service, and it was just literally an oil filter change. That was all it was. I mean, I might have been able to do that myself. Obviously, I couldn't because of the terms of the finance agreement, and but she had it on said it had to go to the main dealership, which is a bit of a shame. But you know, it's just a bit frustrating the way that people don't have that relationship, perhaps as much as they really should do with their car, whether they're old or new. It doesn't really matter. You do have to keep it up in maintenance, and an MOT once a year will not suffice. So thank you ever so much indeed for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and please visit my Facebook page, facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. As I said, Mr. Coleman will be doing a follow-up video to this on the Rubbish Mechanic channel at some point soon. Thank you ever so much once again indeed for watching.